Hello, everyone. Happy holidays from the North Pole. Well, you know, you were so kind to come visit me at the mall last year in your lovely festive sweater. So, with things feeling a little different this year, I thought it might be nice for me to come and see you all. Now, I know that the fall semester is just wrapping up and it's been a very busy time for the year at the University of Waterloo's amazing Faculty of Science. Bob Demure, your dean, wrote a letter to me and had wonderful things to say about all your efforts in making sure this is a unique academic year that is a success. Bob wanted to make sure that each and every one of you ended up being on my nice list this year. You got to know that University of Waterloo has always had a special place in my heart. But before I talk about that, I want to answer a few questions that you may have always wondered about me. So, 10 answers to questions kids ask Santa. How old are you? Well, I was born in 280 AD in Turkey. I know it sounds like Christmas dinner, but that's the name of the country. And that makes me 1,740 years old. So then the second question is, why aren't you dead? Well, at about 60, I moved to the North Pole. The North Pole has no time zone. Therefore, it's timeless, and I don't age. It also lets me deliver presents all over the world because I can deliver it in no time flat. When did I meet Mrs. Claus? Well, I met Mrs. Claus, Jessica, that's what I call her, in 1849. She was a teacher. And why the North Pole, not the South Pole? Because most of the world's population that believe in Santa are in the Northern Hemisphere. Why do I have reindeer? Well, I used to have goats in Turkey, but they were not strong enough as my loads got bigger. So I got reindeer because they're stronger and because they're close to the North Pole, they can fly. Now, you might ask, how can they fly? Well, see, aside from the North Pole having no time zone, it's also where the Earth's magnetic field enters the Earth. And with the size of their antlers, they can hook on to the various magnetic fields and fly through the air. That makes them environmentally friendly too. Isn't that cool? Some kids say, we have a gas furnace. How do you get into the house? I gave up going down chimneys after about the 1900s because it little got dirty and all the houses had chimneys. So now with people in apartments and condos, I just magically ask for one of the tree ornaments to come alive and unlock the door for me. How do you know if kids are naughty or nice? Well, as scientists, you all know that we have magnetic fields and that we resonate with the Earth's magnetic field. And as I told you, they're right there in the North Pole. So I monitor each individual's magnetic field changes at the magnetic north to determine your naughty or nice reading. It's kind of like an NMR. How can you do all the world in one night? As I said, I'm always traveling south. I'm not traveling east to west in the time zones. So riding the magnetic fields north to south, and they just whisk me on my way. How do you carry all the gifts in one sleigh? Well, because of so many kids that I have to deliver to, I contacted with partners like Amazon to have distribution centers all over the world so I don't carry everything in my sleigh. So I make stops frequently on the way. Do I still like a glass of milk to be left for me? Well, Santa loves chocolate chip cookies, and Mrs. Claus is so nice to make me so many. That's why I got a bit of a belly now. But Santa's gotten a little bit lactose intolerant over the years, so please leave me some scotch. Rudolph is driving anyways. As I've said, the University of Waterloo has always held a special place for me, and I use quite a few landmarks to navigate through the KW area on my Christmas Eve. Of course, I can see the tree of lights on top of the Dana Porter Library. Nice and bright for me to get my bearings, which is a good thing because it's up now. Because a few years ago, I had an adventure. You see, we flew a little low as we came in over physics, and Rudolph was hoping to meet your Nobel laureate, Donna Strickland. Not surprising, Rudolph is a big fan of photonics. Unfortunately, he clipped his hoof on the top of the Gustav Bacchus Observatory. I had to land outside of EIT just to make sure everything was all right with the team. And wouldn't you know it, a few of my more mischievous elves took off inside to take a look at the Earth Sciences Museum. I marched in after them, only to find a few of the elves splashing around in the Great Lakes fountain and one or two swinging off the Albertosaurus. Oh my gosh, these elves. I did a quick show of hands and realized that a couple elves were still unaccounted for. So the team and I zipped over to the biology building, knowing that the allure of the warm greenhouse might attract them. Unfortunately, that was a bust, but then I heard a giggle from behind me and found one of my elves was posing with some beautiful bird specimens in the showcases. Uh, I looked around for one last remaining wayward elf and then realized, oh, chemistry. We bolted towards the chemistry building and scurried past the Science Innovation Hub on our way to the roof. And naturally, that's where we found our last elf who was climbing up on the exhaust chimney, a bit confused. Of course, it was not a regular chimney, but one that was installed by some PhD student years ago. Anyway, I collected the last elf, counted heads and antlers, and took to the sky once more. I could see the School of Optometry in the distance and made a mental note, need to get my annual eye exam in the new year. Even Santa needs to take care of his health, and the good folks at the School of Pharmacy will tell you that too. And to remind you to get your flu shot every year too. So, as you can see, I really have a fond spot for the Faculty of Science. I share your love for innovation and groundbreaking research. Here are some of my concerns and some of the steps I'm hoping to do, and maybe you can help me too. First one is climate change. The rising temperatures may threaten our North Pole operations, so we're planning a contingency of using large ships. I'm working with the circumpolar nations for safe ocean passage. The resource scarcity, the availability of raw resources is becoming limited. So we're examining how we can recycle and repurpose our materials. Population growth is certainly an issue. Reindeer were my greatest answer to covering more ground quickly, but they're reaching capacity. So I'm doing R&D on a new sleigh and harness design. And finally, the big one, COVID-19. I'm sure this is on everyone's mind. With my sailing through so many people's houses, there's concern that I may spread the virus. I mentioned earlier that I was doing R&D on my sleigh. We're adding a special function that immediately disinfects me and my gear, both on exit and entrance of my sleigh. I have a special elf source materials for my suit that neutralizes viruses instantly. And I'll have a newly designed halo for my hat that provides 100% filtered air so I don't have to have Santa droplets hanging around. So before I leave you, I want to give you a few thoughts as you look forwards to the winter term ahead. My good friend Charles Darwin said, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. You can see in my stories that Santa has needed to change over the years to stay relevant and believable. It means keeping a keen eye on how you can adapt to stay true to your vision, whether it's working hard on your academics, your research, or engaging your team to build an alumni network. It's essential to the continued growth of this incredible faculty. My hope is that maybe in doing so, you will regain your cheer and joy of your life. And with that, my friends, I wish you all a good night and a Merry Christmas and a happy and health holiday for everyone.